Recognizes Councilman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is like the last day of school. We're all anxious to get going, but we're all comforted in the idea that we'll see each other at some time in the future, and I hope that's my experience. We're also anxious for the future, and I'm very much aware that I learned a lot while I was here, and I'm very aware and grateful for the growth, the life experience, but especially the relationships that I shared with all of my colleagues and the people in all of your legislative districts. Public service is a gift. And for my experience in Harrisburg and my experience here in Philadelphia, I love to live gratefully for that experience. We get to interact with people on a personal level when they have an instant issue that can change their life if we intervene. We also advocate for those who don't have a voice. In our public service, we have power, we have opportunity, but most importantly, we have a responsibility. And we should take, and you should take advantage of every moment that you enjoy your public position. This legislative body was always functional because of the leadership and the collaboration among all of you. And we all know that that's not the case on other levels of government, particularly in the state and on the federal level. I'd like to recognize my Republican colleagues, Brian and David, because they always supported a positive agenda that moved the city forward. And often they were criticized for going along to get along, and that certainly was never the case. I'd like to recognize some of my colleagues. Janie Blackwell, I wish she was here. I never met anybody who was a stronger advocate for individuals who learn differently and have educational challenges, and to empower them to change their lives and take responsibility for their lives. And she always thanked the late, great Lucien Blackwell. And she would never accept a compliment without saying thank you. I think she said thank you more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life, and it's us that should thank Janie Blackwell for her service over these many years. Bobby Heenan, as he alluded to, I've never seen anyone that has taken on as many issues that are complicated to make your head hurt without fear of not being successful. He builds consensus, and he's brought numerous issues to this council successfully. Marion Tasco, I'm so glad that I listened to her personal response to everybody that paid tribute the other night. And I said this to her earlier today. People came from North Carolina, Florida, all over the country. And that's a testament to the relationships that she's built over those years. Not only that she knew those people, they respected each other, but they came to pay respect to her because they respected who she is as a person, as a political leader, and as just an individual that makes a difference day in and day out. And what a deserving tribute it was, and I hope you let all that energy in for a long time to come. Kenyatta Johnson, what can I say? He just brought that spirit of collegiality from Harrisburg, and every Thursday reminded us of that opportunity to respect each other and move agendas together in a positive way by that wonderful greeting that he always gave to the Mr. President and colleagues. And I enjoyed his friendship, but more importantly, I enjoyed him sharing his district with me. And the knowledge of the people that live in that district has made me a better person. Wilson Good, I always heard that he was a great person in parliamentary procedure. When I was distracted, as I often am sitting in this chamber, he would nudge me and remind me that I'm supposed to say aye, or I'm supposed to get up for a picture or something like that. And for all his knowledge on appropriations, I'm very grateful for having sitting next to him. For Cindy Bass and Blondell Reynolds Brown, I would like to thank you for reminding all of us that it's 2015 and that we have to afford each and every one the dignity and respect that they deserve. And I applaud you for taking leadership, and all the other members of the caucus that support you in that endeavor. I'd like to thank Bill Greenlee, who was my wingman on Indigent Council. And it was his knowledge of this legislative body and his commitment to that issue that made us successful. And hopefully that issue will continue. His leadership in making sure, not only on rules and everything else, that every member was informed of the slightest change in a legislative proposal. And I'd like to thank President Clark for the support of the Philadelphia Autism Project. It's in its second year. I thank you for getting that off the ground. I thank you for the funding, not only for that, but for securing funding for focused deterrence, which saves lives and gives opportunities to individuals to get away from a lifestyle of crime and violence. I would also like to thank my good friend Curtis Jones, and it was a pleasure serving with him on the Public Safety Committee and taking on Pennsylvania probation and parole. That was a courageous endeavor, and you made real change. We're not going to see that, but I can tell you that the procedures and protocols of Pennsylvania probation and parole were significantly affected, and those officers recognize that and applaud you for your efforts. Vacant property, Maria Kiona Sanchez on the land bank, gifting myself and my staff that wonderful embodiment of knowledge to create the vacant property legislation. Again, that saves lives and it saves neighborhoods. And also for moving notorio fraud forward, which provides consumer protections and a pathway to citizenship, and it's a model piece of legislation across the country. I'd also like to recognize my success in Harrisburg and in Philadelphia has always been because of staff. It's certainly not because I'm the brightest bulb on the planet, but I would like to first recognize our technical staff. Hal Fitchandler, Mary McDaniel, and I'm going to out her because she was my chief counsel in Harrisburg, and now she's making an extraordinary difference here in City Council. John Christmas, Herb Wetzel, Sade Lewis, and Rosalie Leonard, and my intern sitting right over here, Erin McLaughlin, who to the very last minute in caucus was asking very, very probing questions about leadership and about engaging in legislative discussions. And then I would also like to recognize, I forgot my good friend Mark Squilla. I spent so many years in Harrisburg, and when we were first doing ABI, I walk into his office to discuss something, and he goes, you know what, we're going to slow this down, we're going to make a difference, and we're going to do this. And I walk out, I talk to Matt Braden, and I say, you know what, I admire his courage, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. And he did. He did. And he's a great leader in South Philadelphia, and he's a great friend, and I thank you for that. I also would like to recognize my staff. Matt Braden, who is my chief of staff. I stole him from the district attorney's office, where he logistically supported over 600 employees to make sure that all the cases moved forward. He implemented the $38 million budget, from everything to fleet management, to office space, to budgets for all of the various departments. And then you have Miriam Enriquez, who was an accomplished assistant DA. She went in with my niece to the DA's office, Erin O'Brien, and that was a real steal. It was the first time that I heard the district attorney's office actually almost threatened, because they had plans for her and she chose to come here. And what can I say about Katie Kaplan, who's got a PhD in mental health issues? She came here to support my office in the city of Philadelphia in the conversation around individuals with disabilities. And she said, I don't know anything about autism. I said, well, my guys have mental health issues, so I think this is going to work. And boy, did she ever make a difference in advocating for individuals and for groups of individuals with disabilities across the board. And then I have my wonderful friend, Marge Caputo, who I stole from the Northeast. She ran Academy Sabres Youth Organization, but there wasn't a youth organization that met in Northeast Philadelphia that Margie wasn't integrally involved in advising how to build programs, how to work with the community. There wasn't any civic issue that she wasn't personally involved in. I'll remember one day that I left Harrisburg. I got home probably around 6 o'clock in the morning. They had the opening day ceremonies. And a lot of the youth groups in Northeast Philadelphia had given me a jacket, either a windbreaker or just some kind of coat. And I went right from Harrisburg to the field, to the baseball field. And I grabbed the jacket out of my closet real quick and ran over to the baseball field. And I turned around and I said, I'm very proud of this jacket. I had Penn Academy on instead of Academy Sabres. And she got me out of a very embarrassing moment, so she's multi-talented as well. And then Kevin Carroll, he was a gift from South Philly. He grew up with a lot of our most prominent leaders in the city of Philadelphia. And I was instantly impressed because I would walk down the street and I thought, all these people are waving to me. They're not waving to me, they know Kevin. So for all of these reasons, I will be very grateful. As I said before, I will live gratefully for the leadership of you, Mr. President, and my colleagues in City Council. And I thank you, people of City of Philadelphia, for a wonderful opportunity to serve for as many years as I did. Thank you.